resolved.
During the 44-day war in Artsakh in 2020, Azerbaijan used Turkish Bayraktar drones as widely been publicized, and it was discovered that they used Canadian products for vision and camera parts at least. Canada, after investigation, blocked those exports, and thank you for that, by the way. But in late 2023, as Sweden was vying for NATO membership, that membership was held up by Turkey, and reportedly, export of Canadian parts was also dropped. Can you tell us if that's correct? If the ban currently that was previously in place for export of Canadian military equipment to Turkey was removed? And if so, what were the factors that went into the decision-making process in this case?
Yes, no, the Canada has announced recently, within the last couple of months, the lifting of our policy of presumptive denial for those permits to Turkey. This goes back, though, to the original incident in 2020, where, yes, Turkey provided the Canadian components in violation of the assurances that it had provided us. Again, it had told us they were going to be used for one thing, and they ended up being used instead in the 2020 conflict, which is what prompted Canada to impose the suspension. However, even at the time of that suspension being announced, then Minister of Foreign Affairs Marc Garneau signaled that Canada intended to work with Turkey to develop a new understanding that would allow us to regain confidence that would enable, so that we would be able to eventually resume the export of these components. Or sorry, not just these components, but the export of any military good, a Group 2 export. That led to several years of discussions between Canadian and Turkish officials and political leaders, and led us to ultimately come to the policy whereby we felt that that we could resume the exports, that the understandings that had been reached gave us the confidence to resume. Now, those understandings include the fact that Turkey will need to clearly and unequivocally signal the purpose when making the request for the good at the first time, and explicitly that if they were to provide military equipment to any country outside of NATO, or the one exception is Ukraine, so NATO members or Ukraine, that would need to be made clear right from the start. And therefore, for countries that we would have concerns with, and Azerbaijan would be a very obvious example, that the permit would then be rejected. Because that is the other thing I wanted to emphasize, is that whilst the policy of presumptive denial has been lifted, all that means is we have resumed the policy of carefully evaluating each individual application to ascertain whether or not we are willing to approve it. And so permits that would provide military equipment to countries with a clear record of using military force to violate international peace and security, there is no possibility that such a permit would be granted. So I fully recognize that for Armenia and for Armenians around the world, that that the people would perhaps have preferred for Canada to maintain the presumptive denial policy. But again, Turkey is an important partner of Canada, a NATO ally, and we do cooperate on many issues. So we did, from the very start, want to find a way of being able to resolve this. And we believe that we have done so with mechanisms and safeguards that will ensure that there is no possibility of the repetition of what happened in 2020. And certainly given not just the ongoing scrutiny from Canada, but what I'm certain will be the ongoing scrutiny from Armenia, from the global disarmament community, which also was very concerned about this issue in 2020, from the media, from our opposition parties. There is no doubt in my mind that if there were any attempt by Ankara to violate these agreements, that they would be flagged very quickly, and in that instance, there's no doubt that the restrictions would be reimposed immediately.
We hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast. Click on the link to listen to the entire episode. And remember, your support helps us expand our reach. So please donate to us at podcasts.groong.org. That is GROONG.org. Or scan the barcode on your screen. Thanks in advance.